All right. Hello, everyone. I just did the USMLE exam yesterday, and I want to make a questions and answers video from the questions that I got on Instagram. If you have a question, put it in the comment section, and I'll just type my answer. Let me pull up the list of questions. Overall, I felt pretty good about the exam. It was weird because it was a pass-fail exam, and I've never have taken a pass-fail exam before. So the feeling I had writing it was a little bit of a weird feeling because I didn't know how hard to push as I was writing the exam because I knew I would never see the grade or the result for that exam. So that's definitely a weird feeling because I've never in my life written a pass-fail exam. All right. First question is, how was it compared to SU exams? SU is St. George's University, is the university I'm studying. And the answer to that question is it was completely different. All the exams you write in your medical school, you write in UWorld or every question banks, the way I felt answering those questions, it was as if me and the question writer, we both read the same source material, and now the question writer is giving me questions based on that source material. So it felt like we were both on the same wavelength. That's not going to necessarily feel like for USMLE because I feel like the question writers don't use the same resources that we use, right? So it all felt a little different. That being said, it wasn't out of this world. Like, no question there was something that I was like, shit, I've never thought about it like this, or like, what is this even talking about? Actually, maybe out of 300-ish questions, there was one or two questions I was like, I don't know what you were talking about, but I'm really curious to know what it is. So it didn't feel like out of this world, but it was definitely not similar to anything I've seen before. The thing that I found it most similar to was UWorld Self-Assessment 1 and 2 and the Free 120. It was a little bit longer than all the MBMEs. It was a little bit shorter than all the normal UWorlds. And but in terms of ambiguity and not exactly knowing what they're trying to say, it was similar to UWorld Self-Assessment 1 and 2. More so 2, actually. The next question is about SU again, which is my school. Is that it says, do you think SU prepared you well for the exam? I don't think so. I think most of what I did, and the reason I felt comfortable with this exam is that I didn't follow the path that the school set me, and I just did what I thought was the best thing to do. So I used a lot of Amboss, I used a lot of Anki, I did a lot of questions on my own. I did 80% of Amboss and the whole UWorld question bank. That's like 7,000 questions, and I probably did about 1,000 MBME questions. This is not in preparation for this exam. This is throughout M2, right? So I think the most important thing is just the sheer number of questions you do. I think I have a rough formula in my mind. For every 1,000 questions you do, your grade jumps up by 5. So if you're getting like an average score of 230, you want to get a 250, you want to do 4,000 questions to get there. And it's like a well-proven formula. It's like the number of questions you do correlates very well with how well you end up doing. But do good questions. Do UWorld and Amboss and MBMEs. Don't do like the other weird question banks, which is one thing that SU was kind of emphasizing on. Hey, do USMLE RX. It's like USMLE RX is not good. They're bad questions. The questions are written for 4-year-old. They're not asking you to think about something. They're asking to remember. That's not a question. That's like a quiz. Like, it's not a proper board style question. I didn't like anything other than Amboss and UWorld and some MBME questions. And then the next question is asking, was it similar to UWorld and MBME? Again, it was very similar to UWorld Self-Assessment and Free 120 and Old Free 120, actually. You can find the Free 120s by just Googling it and just type Reddit after whatever you Google. You find it, the link on Reddit. Next question is, did you feel confident walking out? And what do you recommend for the last week? Okay, the most important thing that I think you can do last week is to build up your stamina for the 8-hour exam, right? So what I did, I wrote, my original plan was to spend 3 days writing an 8-hour long exam, exactly the same as exam situations, right? So what does that include? That includes waking up the same time, so I woke up at like 6:30, and then I had a coffee around 8. I started my exam around 8:30, and then I went for 8 hours until 4:30, right? I took 10-minute breaks in between each session. So for one day, I used I used 7 UWorld passages, just 7 random UWorld passages, not passages. I mean, 7 UWorld random 40 question sets, right? That was for day 1. For day 2, I did UWorld self-assessment 1 and 2, and for day 3, I was gonna do NBME 29 and 31. So if you do that a couple times, maybe even go a little bit over the 8-hour mark. So like maybe write a 10-hour long exam. So when you're writing the actual thing, by the 8th hour, you're not feeling exhausted. You feel like you can go for another, what happened? Oh, for another, like 2 hours, right? So that's what I do. I think stamina, like towards the end, is the most important thing. And keep in mind, this is a pass-fail exam. So, you know, at the end of the day, you don't need like stellar performance. You just need to hit a benchmark. And I think that fucked up with me the most psychologically, because on the exam, actually writing it, I was like, how hard do I try? For my self-assessments, I was trying really, really hard because I know I was getting an answer, right? And I was like, whatever this self-assessment tells me for UWorld self-assessments, whatever this tells me, I'm going to tell people that's what I got on the step, right? But for the actual exam, I was like, oh, I only need 2 passes. So I was a little bit, it fucked with me a little bit psychologically, but I don't know. I don't know what you can do about it. Maybe tell yourself like, kind of like, tell yourself over and over that it is marked, that you don't like feel like cheaping out on the actual exam. All right. The next person asks, how do you rank AMBOSS and UWorld? I like AMBOSS better. I think UWorld questions are slightly better, but I think AMBOSS gives you a library. I think you gotta do, if you want stellar performance, I like do either. Realistically, do either. I'm gonna do both. I did both for step 1 that was pass fail, so I think I'm gonna do both for step 2 that's not pass fail. And then the next question asking how much time dedicated SU gave me. I think gave me 6 weeks. I don't think I needed that for a pass fail exam. If the exam was scored, I would have probably delayed it and just like done all the NBMEs and yeah, a bunch more stuff. Probably done Melman's question banks that's online somewhere on YouTube. I would have done more if it wasn't, and delayed it, and if it wasn't pass fail. Yeah, that's everything actually. So let me just give a summary of my thoughts. I think, so what I think you should do, if you're someone who is maybe like 6 months out to your exam, like how can you prepare? And that's not just like dedicated mindset. That's like, how can you like incorporate that into your medical school studying? I think the most important thing is UWorld or AMBOSS, right? You want to do, and you're dedicated, you want to do around 80. If you're not dedicated, I don't know, do however many you can, do 20 to 30. I did 30 when I was in my Christmas break a day, and I like did more of AMBOSS, right? So when you want to do that, if you get something wrong, for your wrongs, either make Anki cards, right? And include the information you needed to get that question right confidently, right? Don't just like ramble on. The information you needed to answer the question confidently, okay? So that includes why the correct answer choice is correct and why the other answer choices aren't correct, if in case they are actually like something significant, right? In case they're not made up, they're wrong answer choices, that is. You either make Anki or you kind of like take two lines of note. This is what Divine from Divine Integration podcast says. If you only limit yourself to 2 lines, you're making sure you're not going on and on. Remember, the goal is not to take notes. The goal is to go through as many questions, and you'll retain most of it, whether you take note or not. That's not a big factor on changing how much of it you retain. Okay. And then 2, when you're about 80% done the question banks, either one, you want to start taking NBMEs. I would do NBME 20 to 24 first, the offline ones, and then I'll start like assessing myself from 21 to 31. I don't know if it's 25 or 26, but I would start assessing myself like once a week, like 6 weeks out of my exam, right? In my basic dedicated. I wouldn't do much content review. Like at 6 months before your step, like in my school, you should have gone through most of the content, right? But if you want to do content review, the way I did it was that if NBME told me hey Iman, your cardiology was like lower than average, but everything else was above average, and I would go watch pathomacardiology, and I would do what would I do? I did like the cards on it for Anki, right? And I kind of kept repeating the cards that I got wrong. Not every day, maybe once a week. I wasn't really good at it, but I do retain most of the questions that I get wrong. Yeah. The next question is, are you gonna tutor now? I've thought about tutoring a lot. I don't think it helps with me with my goals the most. I think my goals are met most optimally by me studying and putting my energy towards step 2 at this point. So I'm not gonna tutor, and it's against my school's policy, but I really don't care about what my school thinks. I just don't think it helps my goals now. All right, if you have any questions, put it in the comment section, like, subscribe, whatever, to help me out. Thank you.